The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or
It's Tuesday, the 14th day of November, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindo's. I'm Jamillah Hartman. He's Rajay Denbrook, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Raj, we haven't seen you since that absolutely wonderful performance in Serafina.
Hi.
What's poppin', player?
I'm all right. I'm resting. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm been catching myself.
Man, honestly, you've always been this modest guy, and in a world where ego is praised, celebrated, and voted for, right? And I didn't know, because you didn't say what kind of role you had. I thought you were like, just someone in the background, because you never spoke of it. You just said you're in Serafina. And I always say, man, when you see people that doing what they love to do in their element, and you just see the joy in them, I feel like it's me, man. And I was so happy to see you in your element, doing what you do. Congratulations to all of you, but I'm speaking to you personally right now. But Raj, man, it's no end game to what you can do and will do in theater, man. It was awesome to see you doing that. How has it been? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. We'll get into the show, but we've got to celebrate our people, folks. We have to give them flowers. We have to let them know they are appreciated. We have to actually wrap our arms around all of them, male, female, whatever they identify, and show them the love that they want, that they need, that they some desire. But man, Raj, you did your thing, man. How does it feel?
It feels very aligned. You know what I mean? I don't get many chances to like exercise that muscle, and that's my area of training and expertise, right? And you don't use your gifts, or you don't use your skills, they atrophy over time. You know what I mean? You don't lose the muscle, you lose the muscle. Mm-hmm. And coming back and doing that show, I mean, I was called in the end of September, because they needed somebody urgently. So with 2 children in tow, I had to do all of that singing in another language, all of that dance and all of that acting in a month. But I was so energized, and I felt so refreshed, and I felt so grateful to be in the space. And pieces like Serafina are why I do theater. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was talking to the cast one day, and they were like, well, and I said, this is the best show I've ever done. Like, easily the best show I've ever done. And they were like, why? And I was like, if I just wanted to do a show, I could read my children a bedtime story, and I could do all the voices and whatnot. That's a show. But a piece of impactful art that pulls people in where they experience themselves, and it's cathartic and it's healing. That's why I do theater, and that's what Serafina was. So I'm just grateful to be involved. I was grateful for the opportunity, and the guy and the male director, Mr. Ngema, he originated my role on Broadway and in the film. And as an actor, I've never had that opportunity before, right? So that was an incredibly humbling thing. And then Jamil, you mentioned this word ego. I let my work speak for itself. I'm not the kind of person who I think ego ruins things. I think ego changes things, and especially in any sort of performance work. ego will undermine your work and it will lessen the quality of it. It's about the art. It's about community. And, you know, I've even had a few people afterwards saying like, yo, you know, you could afford to have more of an ego, you know, like you can have more of an ego. And it's like, it's not about ego. It's not about ego at all. Ego ruins things. So yeah, I'm just grateful I was involved, grateful, you know, the entire show was received as well as it was, grateful that people received my performance, you know, as well as they did. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to keep going to see what the next project is.
Indeed, indeed. And folks, if you saw Serafina, just let us know yes or no in the audience. Did you see Serafina? It was quite the performance. And good morning to you, Suzanne Ingham. She says, Premier Jamel. I don't know, Raj. maybe Premier Raj, but not Jamel. Raj,
but you be in my cabinet.
Raj, I don't say things people enjoy now, you know. I may do things they'll appreciate, but I don't say the right things. But Charmaine Richardson says, yeah, that was an amazing performance, Rajay. You are an incredible actor, and
thank you.
People in the audience. Yes, says Sheldon Fox. Yes, says Paulie Rich. Yes, Angeline Butler. Yes, Karen Edward Simmons. The show was on the last night she went, she said. And Lydia Simmons says yes. Shanna Smith says yes, amazing. Stacey Ann Brown, yes. So I'm just this makes me happy that people were able to be out and see it. Ebony Susan said loved it. Date night with the kids. So thank you all for supporting the art because it's necessary. My hope is that we can make this a year-round thing in Bermuda. And we spoke about this last week. But that said, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we are going to actually discuss, we don't have our guest today, but we're going to discuss something that I believe carries on from last week's conversation. Some questions going to be, how can we encourage Black business leaders to do more for the cause? And I want you to really think about that. Black business leaders. We've had this conversation with Sir John on recently. He was speaking about getting the best talent in politics. But it's not just that. It's about, you know, we're speaking about the arts, and we always turn to government. We always look at government. But there are some Black CEOs. I would love to see and know and feel that Black CEOs are doing more than, you know, filling out that charity list and going on the front page of the paper. So we're going to have a conversation and, you know, Black CEOs, in my opinion, have a responsibility. And it's not charity. It's not charity. We can't do what they do. So we're going to talk about that. Daily play today, Raj. So remember when.
Okay.
This is it would have went very well with entrepreneurship conversation, but it's gonna. I think this one should really make the audience grasp a piece of history if they don't know. And folks, if you haven't already, do us a favor. Really, really, pretty please do us a favor. Fill out this survey for us. Thank you to everyone who's already done it. We really appreciate you, but we really hope that everyone who hasn't, I will share the link. Let me do that again. Share the link in the comments for you. But please fill out the Daily Hour survey for us. We would appreciate it. The information you provide us helps us do what we can to make this show better. And do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Now then, the question. Well, we've got a few more people, going pretty excited. So Nana Pam says, yes, it was fantastic talking about Serafina and Charles H. Jefferson II. I saw Charles in there, someone pointed out. And, if I was in school, I would have, made one of those paper planes and chucked it at him. But probably the appropriate thing. So I just didn't use my manners. Suzanne Ingham says, you'd be a great premier. And Lydia Simmons says, saw the original on Broadway, and this was just as good. That's the aim, right?
It is. And we have the talent here to do it.
Absolutely. We just need to get Black business leaders to support it. And we are picking on them, not picking on them, but we're speaking to them. We're consciously having a conversation today. But first off, let's ask the audience, Raj, because your causes may be different from mine, right? What is your cause in Bermuda? Like what is important to you? Audience, let us know your cause. What is important to you? Raj, what would you say your cause is? Like if you wanted financial help or support, what is that cause for you? Or causes? It could be more than one.
I think it would encompass education, arts and culture, and youth work. And then by extension, mental health, especially Black mental health, and assisting vulnerable families. I think that might be umbrella. And then within youth work, youth recreation. So that's not just the arts, that's of course athletics. Yeah, I think that would be those would be my causes, and how you can sort of maximize programming around those things where you're maximizing engagement, but you're also creating legitimate opportunities for people to connect with their power and to develop and to grow. And then also Black history. Black history and collective Black healing is a part of my cause. So yeah, I think those would be mine.
All right. So you said education.
Yep, arts and culture,
Culture,
youth work,
Black
mental health,
and history.
yes, and history.
Okay, 5. All right. And I think those are fair. So now, Raj, the question of the morning, right? So if those are your causes, and audience, please let us know what your causes are. How can we encourage Black business leaders to do more for the cause, right? So for instance, I've said this on the show, and this is not to be offensive. This is just the reality, right? Most Black CEOs answer to who?
A board, shareholders?
Right. And what do those people usually look like?
Not like us.
Okay. So we have to keep in context that a Black CEO that's going to support Black history or Black this or Black that, they have to answer to their shareholders to say why they're supporting this cause, right? Chances are those shareholders are all boys, regardless of gender, right? So are they really going to do it? We are in a space where these CEOs are more interested in maintaining their position than really supporting their community, one would think, which is why it's so much easier to maintain the status quo and continue to give to the regular and normal charities. Here's a go. Again, let us know, audience, what are some of your causes, and how can we encourage Black business leaders to do more for the cause? And let me tell you why I think this question is important. I have no hope or faith in the government. I just don't. Maybe that's very pessimistic, or maybe it's realistic, but I have absolutely no faith, no hope. So where do we go from there? Well, you go to the business community. Sir John said that's where the talent is, right? So now we say, and I'm going to call some names because I like these gentlemen, not because I'm picking on them, because they have given me the time of day. And we've had conversations, whether it's a Patrick Tannick, who is an awesome person I've had the opportunity to speak to. What's his name? Wendell Brown. I don't know him, but he owns quite. Sir John mentioned him on this show, right? We've got Neville Grant, who's at the Bermuda Commercial Bank. So now let me flip this now. Patrick Tannick is AXA XL. They just had a 5K or 10K, right? I'll use Dr. Kaiwan Brown as well. We had Kenneth Burgess on recently, and she spoke of the work that they're doing. Just those Black CEOs, in my opinion, the general public, Rajay just named 5 causes. Rajay should not have to go to, you shouldn't have to ask, what do they support? You should kind of know, right? So now if Rajay goes to them and says, hey, I'm Leon Bascom at Moongate. We're looking to fund the arts culture or sector so that we can put on another Serafina performance. And this Black CEO, who's probably consumer, is majority Black people, then says, oh, well, we've already committed our budget to charity for the year. That answer is unacceptable. Let me tell you why it's unacceptable, especially in a US context. Charity ain't done nothing to help us or move the needle. There's nothing empowering about that charity that you've done. Trust me. But now saying you're getting behind this, where we don't have to have an event once a year or a couple times a year, it can continuously happen. I'll use this show, right? Denton Williams, Tamara Richardson, Mickey Robinson. These are Black CEOs who utilize this platform to keep the conversations going. To me, they're doing something for the cause. So the question is, how can we get more of them? How can we get more Black CEOs? Because I'll tell you what, when I see them advertising, and this is no disrespect, on the Royal Gazette or Bermuda Broadcasting, but don't see their names behind a Serafina, but I see them supporting a rugby, but I don't see them supporting a cop match. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Black CEOs owe the Black community. Because I tell you what, many of them have utilized the Black community to get where they are, to tick that box. And you know what that box is? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I didn't say what my causes are, did I?
No, not yet.
Let's go to the audience first. How about that, Rod?
Okay.
What you got in the audience?
What we got in the audience here? Sheldon makes this wonderful point about Serafina. Having live musicians on stage was incredible. I loved it. Just being on stage, having the vibration of the musicians' instruments during the show, and the level of musical talent that we have in this country is insane. It's insane. And I tell people all the time. I had a friend visit 2 months ago from London, and they're on the West End. And I told her straight up, almost every child in Bermuda can sing. They're like, that's not possible. Because literally, like, when you think of the distribution of it, the amount of vocal talent we have in this country is unusual.
But you know what? You just get, that's a cause, music.
Right there. Yep, right there. And it should be. Bermuda should be, just how we're world leading in our financial sector, we should be world leading in at the very least, music. And I'll say music because before theater, because music is a lot more accessible. Theater costs money. Like, theater is expensive. But when you're doing theater, it doesn't have to be large scale stuff. You can do small scale stuff too. But in terms of music, we should be world leading. Like, it's as simple as that. Paulie Rich says his are education, homelessness, and mental health. I think that's very, yeah. It's a very important trifecta right there.
So how's this? How do we encourage Black business leaders to support education and homelessness and mental health? What do we do?
Well, I would say I've been thinking about education a lot lately. And I think one of the limitations is that while you're still stuck in this whole policy ladder, right? When the minister comes in with policy, and everybody in the Department of Education is then duty bound to execute that policy, no matter how flawed it is. And people are very much stuck in a mindset sort of thing. So it's like, well, how can you diversify people's approach to education, like, immediately? We need to start putting mechanisms in place that fund alternative education sites, like adult education, like Care Learning Center. If government can put grants in place, like sort of like the academy model, but businesses can support this. So if businesses come up with a sort of alternative education funding framework of some sort, where people who want to open small homeschools, small, extremely high quality and impactful homeschools that have, where you have trained teachers, research-based curricula, all of these things, right? And then you can take that to a business and say, this is what I want to do. They should be able to fund this so that we can have a boom in the number of alternative education sites we have in this country. Because this one approach that you're getting in most educational environments here, in public school and in our private schools, it doesn't reach, it's not having the impact it needs to have. And we've seen it for the last 20 years now, right? But that's my sort of on education anyway.
No, I get you. And I think not by chance, we've spoken about alternative education a lot as of late, but I agree. And as does Paulie Rich, definitely agree with that, Rajay, alternative education. Silas Lynch says corporate sectors have budget limitations. If you're not a charity, they can't change the overall mandate. They can. It's called a marketing budget. You can expand that, but also you can shift budgets. You don't have to spend your budget where you've always spent it. You can take that budget you've already always put right here and put it in a Serafina. That's no excuse. I'm sorry. That's not an excuse. People do with their money what they will. Black leaders need to do more. Black business leaders to support. Now, let me be clear. Let me say this loud and clear. Serafina was a well-run production. It was executed. I am not saying that they should support every and anything. That just because someone has their hand out, they should be given. That's not what I'm saying. Let me be very clear about that. What I'm saying is there are causes in the Black community in particular that have long been ignored. Long been ignored. And with enough Black leaders in positions, decision-making positions now, I don't believe it should be happening the way it's happening.
I agree with that. And I think some people may receive that and think that it's unfair or it's unrealistic or it's unidealistic or it's idealistic, right? And I wish I could remember the bloody words, but there in sociology, there are two specific terms that describe it's upward mobility for a person within oppressive context, and then collective upward mobility. So it's written on a lot, and I'm really mad I can't remember the words, but the idea that upward mobility for yourself creates the illusion of progress, right? So like when Obama became president, everyone's like, we have a Black president, everything's fine now.
Yep.
Not exactly, right? But there's a term for people who are upwardly mobile, but then understand that it's a collective experience and raise the tide for everybody intentionally, right? This is a sociological phenomenon. It's been studied and it's been described, So when we're talking about individuals who have come from, people who have come from, or the extension of oppressive circumstances or oppressive histories, finally making it within their context, turning around and making sure that they're lifting the tide for everybody as idealistic is not idealistic, right? It's the way that things should actually be. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm a pretty darn good actor and a pretty decent vocalist, and I have an understanding around programming and stuff, like educational programming.
I appreciate the confidence this morning, Raj.
It would be, and I have run theater programs, right? I'm not going to come back home with my experience and expertise and be like, I'm just going to work on myself as an actor and forget everybody else. What? No. I'm going to do the small bit that I can in order to lift the tide. And I have 2 of my students were in Serafina with me, which was wild. And they killed it. You know what I mean? Few of my students have gone on to study musical theater. One of them's about to be on the West End. You know what I mean? And it's like, we can create those opportunities even if you don't have the money. But if I was the business leader and I had the money, and one day I'm gonna have money, I'm gonna have that money.
Yes, you will.
Where I'm gonna be able to turn around and say, oh, you need 50 grand? Start a business.
Here we go.
Take it.
See, I like what he just said. It aligns with what I always say. He said 50 grand to start a business, not scholarship to school.
Nope.
To start a business.
You have a program that you want to run. You need to show me though. Give me your business plan. Give me your program outline. Show me what I want. Data in 6 months. I want a full data breakdown. But here, it's 50 grand. Take it.
Raj, I wish it were that easy right now, because you can show all the data and they will still make excuses. Let's just go to Charles H. Jeffs a second. He says, my causes are the growing economic disparity between the haves and have-nots, forcing people to feel displaced in their home country, and the lack of leadership. Leaders in leadership positions. Here's the thing.
Charles didn't come to play.
This may really rehash something that Roger has spoken about on this show. So I came across some pictures of the golf event. Whenever I see these kind of events and I see Black people in particular at them, it always makes me believe that so many Black people who have advanced themselves were never fighting for the cause or the people as a collective. What they were fighting for is to individually be accepted into white spaces. What they were fighting for was to actually be able to go to these country clubs and spaces that they weren't allowed. You know, I always said this. A good friend, she was a fighter on the LGBTQ front, right? Plus, and she always, you know, she would fight and try to go to these places. And I said, I think the difference between me and many fighting for LGBT stuff is I don't want to be included in most stuff. I'm happy not being included. I said, you always trying to fight to be in places you don't want to be. How'd that work out for Black people? And I'm not trying to dismiss their cause, but I said, no, build your own and build it so great that they want to come to yours, and don't discriminate when they come, because when they come to yours, ain't no one gonna be at theirs. And I just want us to shift our mindset in that respect. You know, I don't care how much I may have. My goal is never to be separate from the people I'm building with, communicating with, growing with. My goal is never to be in that space I'm not wanted. But when I look at these pictures of golf, it's these happy Black faces like, I've arrived. And these are some of the Black leaders that we're relying on to give back. Let's go to this comment. Sam Cat, please, we got to bring Maya in for the Daily Hour News Break. She says, I agree, they can. We did, and I'm so happy that I was part of making it happen. And it doesn't matter of the company. If the company is big or small, they can help. I agree. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I believe if the business is only a few years old, maybe it'd be difficult to donate funds to charity or cause. We're not talking about that. I was very clear as to the Black leaders. I'm not talking about new businesses or small businesses. I'm speaking about Black leaders. Black leaders, there are enough Black leaders in a majority Black country where there can be more done for a cause. I haven't even spoken about conscription. But there are more Black leaders in business who can do more. Again, just go back to what Sir John said. Some of that leadership doesn't even have to be monetary. It could be simply providing your talent in certain spaces. Silas Lynch says, I speak from a big corporation point of view. The mandates are set by corporate execs outside of Bermuda that don't look like us. No, I concur. What I'm speaking about is budgets can be shifted, right? I literally was in a meeting with a company most of us use regularly last week. It's a global company. And I proposed something to him. Well, we've never paid this much for it. Okay, that don't mean you can't. Well, let's see where we can shift funds to make it happen. They can shift funds. There's nothing, we're not saying give us more than you're allotted. We're just telling you shift funds in this direction. Mm-hmm. That can happen.
And it's not like government, right? You know, I worked in government for 1.5 years, and I'm so happy I did, because it gave me such an insight into like financial instructions, and I got involved when there was budget season, so I got to see how they did the budget. You know, money's allocated to a cost center, and you have to spend it in that cost center. Like you can't shift things around. Whereas in the private sector, you can shift things around very easily. Like it's not so that entire idea that.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was speaking with an agency, right? Agency said, look, you know, they've got 50,000 to spend. They usually spend 40,000 here, but they're trying to cut back there, and we're looking for somewhere else to put it. We know when it comes to marketing, advertising. Notice I ain't say charity, because when we say charity, people always get stuck on, well, there's only so much to donate and laws and it. I'm not talking about charity. That's why I keep saying causes. Causes do not have to be charitable. Serafina, supporting that to me isn't charitable. That's sponsorship. Mm-hmm. You know what? Let's go to a commercial break, come back, bring in Maya for the Daily Hour News Break, an extended news break. Unfortunate news that we had 2 incidents. One where we had another road fatality, which we spoke of last week, and an industrial incident last week as well. So definitely sending condolences to the entire families and community of those impacted by this. Rashida Godwin, real quickly before we go to break, says there's this history of the theater boycotts that ended the segregation in 1959, but time told that it never worked out for Blacks and still doesn't. Inclusion is delusion. Wow.
And you know what I'll say to that really quick, and you know, Rashida knows I could not appreciate her more. She's a griot, and the work that she does. But opening up the doors didn't fix anything, right? What has been the proportionate undoing of what was done for 300 plus years, right? Economically, spiritually, psychologically, you broke people down for 300 plus years. How have you been building them up? You undermine them Jamillah, it was literally illegal for us to make money
Mhm.
for over 200 some odd years. We could not, it was illegal for us. If you somehow owned land as enslaved, or when you were free, it was illegal for you to will your land on.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? So what has been the proportionate undoing of all of that? Just opening up the door saying we can all get together now, that hasn't fixed things. But anyway.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. Maya Palacio, Daily Hour News Break. Folks, do not go anywhere. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talk and DeWalt. The list goes on.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
All right, welcome back to the Big Show. Let's bring Maya in for the Daily Hour News Break. He's Roger, Group Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve the community. While Maya's doing the Daily Hour News Break and you are listening, if you haven't already, just fill out the what's it called? The survey. All right, stick with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
I'm feeling good this morning. Feeling better.
All right. Guess what I noticed? Guess what I noticed?
What?
Your hair is back up.
Oh Lord. Yes, my hair is back up.
Love the curl and it looks nice.
Thank you.
See, Raj, I'm getting better at this. See, I'm very oblivious to things, you know. See, I'm getting there though, Raj. I'm getting there.
I know we're working together. I'm here for this.
Thank you, Raj.
You're welcome. I know the bar below, Maya. I'm sorry. You're just listening to this.
Like the day these not mention anything other than hair, that would be a day that shocks me.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Cool.
We're starting with hair. How was your weekend? Had a nice long weekend. You got some rest?
Yeah, I did. And, just staying very tapped into what's going on, like on the island and globally as well. Just so much going on in the news. But I'm feeling good. Family's good. So I'm in a happy space myself.
I love to hear it. So it's been a long weekend. You've got some good news in there?
I have some good news at the end. I try to. So there's some good news at the end there.
She's always got the good news, folks. Don't worry. But she has to give you the news. So over to you, Maya.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News brought to you by People's Pharmacy. So starting out with some tragedy, just a victim in the fatal RTC road traffic collision identified. And it is now identified that 48-year-old Filipino national Lavella Cruz has been identified as a victim in that fatal road traffic collision, which occurred on Thursday, November the 9th. Ms. Cruz was riding her motorcycle east along Somerset Road in Sands Parish near the junction with Cricket Lane when a motorcar vehicle traveled.
Uh-oh. Raj, I think we lost her.
All right, Maya, come back, Maya. Maya, come back.
All right, I think we lost her, but as you can see, honestly, unfortunately, there was they have named the road fatality victim from last Thursday, and I think on behalf of everyone on this show, we're sending our sincerest condolences to the family and community on the loss of Miss Lavella Cruz. So Maya will be back with us in a second to further update us on this and other things. But until she comes back, Raj, road fatalities, we were on course in June for a record year. And it seemed that they slowed down. What concerns you most when you are out on the road, just, on the bus with your children? Like, do you feel like Bermuda is really worse off, or is it,
I can. It's you never want to make like a determination, like an anecdotal determination. You know what I mean? But I feel like people are taking a lot more risks on bikes. Like I was driving in my car yesterday, and this young man, he didn't look a day over 18, did this nip in front of my car really quickly, and it was stupid. Because if I had been an inch more to the right, he would have struck my car and he would have died. And I say that confidently. So I was just sitting there going, why is it a thrill-seeking thing? And I'll reference Serafina in this. So my character, he was a staff rider, right? And staff riding is when you're jumping trains. And and I did my research around it. People consider it like a suicide sport. It's thrill-seeking. And it's mostly young Black male South Africans who do it. And it's a way for them to manage their anger or to deal with their frustration. And not until this moment, and I'm thinking like bikes on our roads, very similar link. So,
all right, let's bring Maya back in.
Oh, she's back.
Yeah. Maya, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So, sorry, we just, it's technology, folks. It happens.
Yeah,
So
I apologize on my end for that. Moving on to the next piece of news. I'm not sure we left off, but we heard about the 13th road fatal collision. And now moving on to even some more horrific news the following day, actually, that there was a fatal industrial accident. Actually, this happened shortly after 5 p.m. on Friday, November the 10th. Police attended a report of an industrial accident at a construction site in St. George's. There was a 42-year-old male Portuguese national who was working on the site when he got struck by a steel beam. EMTs attended and transported the injured male to the hospital for treatment for his injuries. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead a short time after.
Yeah, very sad. I had, until I saw the police report yesterday, didn't know of it, but very sad news. And I just want people to understand, I think, and maybe it's just me from what I view, but I feel like, they named Portuguese national and Filipino national as if they're not part of the community, right? I want to say this. They very much are part of the community. These are people that are probably doing work you're benefiting from. These are people who have likely paid into the community during their stay in Bermuda. So I want us to understand that these are still members of our community, even though it's a road fatality that may not be someone you know, or an industrial incident may not be someone that you directly know. So again, condolences to the community and the family and friends of both individuals.
Agreed. Now, continuing on, this person is still missing. So if you have seen 16-year-old Ajani Lima Basco, Mr. Basco was described as being 5 foot 8 inches in height, approximately 125-pound build, light complexion, slim build, with dark hair normally worn out or in plaits. He was last seen around 11:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 9th of November in Slippery Hill, St. George's area. And I'll just remind you, this is the 14th. So this young man is still missing. There has been no update from the police as of yet. At the time, he was wearing dark pants, a dark jacket, white socks, and dark colored Crocs. Anyone with information is asked to call the main police line 295-0011.
Yeah, this is like the young lady recently. It's long.
Yeah, 5 days. Today makes day 5 that we have not found this young man.
Yeah, and I say this respectfully because I think we were very concerned with the young lady. We have to be just as concerned. These are children. Children. Just keep that in mind.
Yes. And more in the news this morning, several packages suspected to contain the controlled drugs cocaine and cannabis with an estimated street value of over $20 million was seized and suspects were arrested. This happened on the 9th of November. The Bermuda Police Service, in conjunction with the Royal Bermuda Regiment, Coast Guard, and Bermuda Maritime Operations, conducted a joint operation. They said 2 vehicles were intercepted in Bermuda waters. The BPS Tactical Division and Drug Unit officers later arrested 6 men in relation to this matter and executed several search warrants in Pembroke and Warwick parishes. The Royal Bermuda Regiment spokesperson said the success of the operation is a demonstration of the investment in the capability by the Royal Bermuda Regiment Coast Guard since its inception in 2020.
I just want to give the Royal Bermuda Regiment some props. At the end of the day, when we were fighting conscription, we always believed if you made this a valuable career option, people would want to join. This is why you don't need conscription. This is why you get trained individuals who are good and capable, and they're able to actually impact the community in a positive way by keeping these dangerous things off the streets of Bermuda. So major props to all involved, especially the Royal Bermuda Regiment, who are doing what they can to protect our borders on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot that was seized.
Oh yeah, that's a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on to more news. Yesterday, there was a gathering for Gaza at City Hall. Here's some quick footage of some clips that I put together from Burn News with a statement that came. You'll hear it from the performer Joy Barnum. So let's take a listen.
Good evening, all you allies. I'm here to sing Get Tired, Fight, the Mary Prince song. And one of my favorite verses that I wrote was with every ally by our side. So I know that you'll find these words inspirational. I do. And I hope you find them foundational. I appreciate every single one of my Jewish friends who are on the side of freeing Palestine. I am on the side of every single one of my friends who want to see Ukraine free, who want to see Congo free, who want to see people free. This song I wrote about Mary Prince and from her perspective, but I wrote it during the Ahmaud Arbery shooting, stalking, murder. I wrote it, and the first line is, I am human. And the first battalion that we have is to realize that each of us are human. And it'll just be easier not to harm each other if we realize that.
You know, I've been reading, and I actually, from a personal perspective, would love to have a conversation, private conversation with a Jewish person and a private conversation with someone who's Palestine, because I think right now with more control outside of mainstream media, people are getting various perspectives nowadays. What I mean by that is, at a point before social media and the internet, we only got one narrative, right? Right now, there was something happening in Texas, in Austin, Texas. And the conservatives, since Mr. Musk took over Twitter, I don't know if it happens to you guys, but I got a lot of porn and conservative stuff on my timeline. I certainly don't look for it, but it happens. But the conservative stuff, it really came and it says, Hamas supporters taking over Austin, Texas. And I'm just like, it's clearly a Palestine, march or protest. But how mainstream used to tie that in so that we all thought they were one, right? To the point where it was a time when people only thought certain religion equated to terrorism. But with now the options to learn more. So all that said, I would love to sit down and just ask questions because I am in a space of ignorance. I accept my ignorance, but I am not comfortable with my ignorance, if that makes sense. So I would love to have a conversation if there's anyone tuned in or someone who I can have a conversation with. And a reason, because I want to understand the justification for certain views and perspectives. At the end of the day, wrong is wrong, no matter who does it, said Malcolm X. I agree today, and I don't think I ever will disagree with that statement. So, sorry, Maya, I didn't mean to go on tangent.
No, but wrong is wrong, and she might be frozen again. But wrong is wrong, Jamel. And I was just looking at some key data yesterday, and again, I'm ignorant, to the Palestine and Israel dynamics. This is the first time I'm really learning about it myself, and the more I learn, the more disturbed I am. But with this I think it was as of the 7th of November, just over 11,000 Palestinians had been killed since in this latest conflict alone, and over 4,000 of them are children. I cried. I've seen pictures of kids trapped under rubble, children with lost limbs, children taking their last breath. It doesn't take a rocket. I don't want to offend anybody, or you know what I mean, but there's not an anti-Semitic bone in my body, so I don't want to hear nothing about because I have an issue with what the Israeli military or the Israeli government is doing in Palestine means I'm anti-Semitic. Stop that. It's not true. That's ridiculous. Right is right and wrong is wrong. These are war crimes. They're targeting hospitals, like literally targeting hospitals. And these are literal war crimes.
Yeah, you said that, but even that, Roger, I want to understand what anti-Semitism actually is. Like, I want to really grasp that. I think Maya's coming back in, so we'll continue. But thank you for her getting that coverage as well. Sorry, Maya, go ahead. Maya, you there? I think she's a popsicle again. I think she's a popsicle. All right, folks. We're gonna wait for Maya to come back in. Raj, do you have any days of the year for us?
Yeah, I do. Today is Stress Awareness Day. Today is Stress Awareness Day. I'm going to read this really quick. Stress can be a real killer, both in the workplace and in the busy day-to-day life of each person on Earth. While stress certainly serves a solid purpose in human biology, it is also true that modern life has brought about a surplus of causes that haunt people from day to day, and the impact has been, for some people, rather catastrophic. When humans are faced with a challenge or a threat to their well-being, the body experiences stress. By design, this was a good thing to notify and equip the brain to sense and respond to danger. Now, in modern times, stress responses come on even when people aren't necessarily in imminent danger or risking their lives.
All right, Raj, let me check my stress level on my watch. Hold
Wonderful.
on. Let's see. 63, Raj?
63 out of I don't know. How does it measure? 60 out of 100?
Yeah.
Oh, that's high. What we got to get that done?
Well, let me check. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was low before I started talking to you this morning.
My bad. I mean, it happens. I get it.
But my stress level is currently 63. It averages very low in the 20s. So must be something you all are doing. Let's bring Maya in. Hey, Popsicle, how are you? Oh, nope, she's not there, folks. She's not there.
A difficult one.
Yeah, she's not there. Maybe it's that new lighting. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We'll wrap it up. We're going to do the daily play. And it's a Remember When today. So Tuesday. Again, if you haven't filled out the link, fill us up. Charles says he doesn't get that on his timeline. Well,
algorithms may be saying something. I wasn't going to say it, Charles.
You my cookies. I ain't searching that stuff. I'll tell you what, it ain't searching that stuff. Maya, you see how they talk about me when you're not here?
I can't see you because I'm not here.
All right, you've been a popsicle. All right, what else you got for us in the news break before we take this break?
Yes, let me just close up by saying in other news, Bermudian professor and poet Aisha Townsend has recently returned home after being invited as a speaker at her first literary festival that happened in the British Virgin Islands. So I got to ask about that experience and what it was like to be out there and be, a guest speaker Bermudian in that space. And she was coming home from the airport. So here's what we got, guys.
I'm always shocked from something that I just wrote down, some thought that I had somehow offers me the ability to fly to another country. It's crazy, a poem paid for me to fly to the British Virgin Islands, and earlier this summer short story paid for me to fly to Accra and be a facilitator in a writing workshop down there. And that amazes me. Like, that really, really is something that I am overwhelmed by. I'm never not surprised by. I'm never not grateful for. So it was such a beautiful experience. And for this to be my first literary festival as a writer, and it be a Caribbean literary festival, I was so happy, because of course, Caribbean writing, Caribbean literature is the canon and like the literary lineage of which I write in.
Wonderful. She's been on this show before, but I'm loving to see that she's still doing her thing. Props to her.
Yes. And closing out with our sports-related news that the Bermuda team has actually won the SSL Gold Cup Day 3 race. This is coming from Ireland stats that the race was an intense and exciting race that ended with the Bermuda Privateers that held their nerve to take the win against Malaysia. And in their Day 4 final, which happened yesterday, November 13th, the Bermuda team has qualified for the SSL Gold Cup's next round. So congratulations to them.
Man, the levels of fitness when I see those guys, I'm like, my goodness, I just thought they sat on a boat and shifted a sail, but nope.
No, it's a lot. And if you don't know, the SSL is actually considered like the football World Cup of sailing. So it's a pretty big deal indeed. And just a little bit into the Daily Mail Clinic, the things that are coming up. Tomorrow there will be a screening at the Hamilton Pharmacy, Parliament Street at 9 a.m. for those men who would like to get their self-screened. And also there will be a documentary too that same day.
All righty. Thank you, MP. How's the weather looking today?
Weather's looking like sun, cloud, chance of showers by 2 p.m. midday today. So a little bit of that. And it was a little bit of a small craft warning. So we're going to probably get some pretty strong winds later in the afternoon or evening time. We've got a high of 72 degrees. All
right. Thank you so much for that, Maya. And Rod said it's stress-free day, folks. Do something that's going to bring your stress levels down. I'm going to stop talking to these two for a bit for the rest of the day. All right. All right. Maya, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. And when we come back, it's Daily Playtime. I want to see if anyone in the audience knows this answer, Raj.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're throwing a curveball this morning.
No, it's not a curveball. That's why.
Okay.
Right. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
All righty. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. Folks, if you've appreciated today's show, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Roger, you ready?
Yeah, more or less.
All righty. So remember when the Tulsa race riot took place in what decade?
20s?
Boy, this guy is brilliant. Woo!
I bet I've gotten that right because I taught a unit on it.
Yeah, the Tulsa race riot of 1921, a 2-day massacre of hundreds of black residents started by a white mob. You know what else it was known as, right?
The night. Shoot, go ahead.
Not the riot, but that area.
No. Oh, it was Black Mecca, Black Wall Street.
Man, look. Gee, Black Wall Street. He's right. It was in Greenwood, suburb of Tulsa, and Black Wall Street existed between 1906 and 1921. Why is that applicable to today's conversation? I'll start by wrapping it up by saying this. Black people have it within us to collectively be in control of our own economic destiny. Someone earlier spoke about integration being a delusion. At the end of the day, both Roger and myself said this, and I'm going to say this unapologetically. I do not believe in supporting black businesses just because they're black. If you have a hamburger shop and I don't eat hamburgers, I'm likely not going to support it. However, I may support it in a small fashion if I know someone who does enjoy a burger and they're looking for one. Oh, go to such and such's, or maybe I'll get it for them. Not every business is for everyone. But for those businesses that are, and this is a message to black leaders, no one's asking you to give away your fortune. But when you get into positions, leadership positions in business, it's really, really beneficial for you to reach your hand back out and to see who would like to come along the way. Not to just be on your coattails, but to help you to accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I tell you what, the way that Bermudians have been in awe with Serafina, wouldn't you have loved to see your name attached to that? Then there's other events where they always get the big corporate sponsorships, and it's always some sort of controversy. Which one you think is going to be easier to get financial support next year again? Black leaders, you owe the black community. I say that unapologetically as well. You owe the black community. Because chances are you're in position to satisfy and tick that box because of the black community. The least you can do is work, empower, and encourage the black community. Raj?
Yeah, I echo everything you just said, and I'm so grateful that you use Tulsa as an example. I mean, this was just black people coming together, understanding that they needed to create an experience for themselves, and that's what they did. And what really motivated the riot, the massacre, was that a neighboring suburb, a white suburb, they did not have the same quality of life as they had in Tulsa. That angered them, and they contrived a reason to attack them. That's literally why it happened, right? And this idea that money's just going to go where it needs to go, or do what it needs to do, or things are just going to improve how they need to improve, that's a lie. That's the illusion of capitalism. I'm sorry. You have to be intentional. Mm-hmm. You have to be. This idea of just pull your bootstraps up and things will go well for you. If that was the case, you wouldn't have most of the issues you have in the world. You know, it's not for people's lack of talent, people's lack of motivation, lack of work ethic that keeps them at a particular level. It's history, it's context, right? And Black business leaders are in a very unique position to address that in an intentional way. And one day I'm going to be in a position much more to live with that level of intention, and best believe I will be. And if I have that commitment now at 33 years old, when I don't have much, so to speak, imagine the good I'm going to be able to do. And you said something so important at the beginning of this show about wrapping our arms around our people and giving them flowers. Something that I find fascinating about Bermuda, and I'm going to write an essay on it. I've already decided. It's like this crabs in the barrel experience, right? Where when we see people, I think, when we see people doing great, we don't give them their flowers. And it's this idea of we all need to stay on the same level. There's only so much to go around, right? And not to make this about me, but after Serafina, the amount of people who are my friends, right, who have been so reluctant to just say, Raja, you did a great job. And I've noticed it because the silence is pronounced because, not to toot my own horn, whatever, I know I did the damn thing on that stage along with everybody else. You know what I mean? And I know how I am when I see my creative friends doing their damn thing. I lose my mind, right? So to not have that energy reciprocated and to, that silence is deafening. So it really is. So give people their flowers. And if you're not getting their flowers, understand what you bring to the table and don't stop, and don't let it affect you. But, as a community, we need to wrap each other in our arms, work with each other, and elevate each other's condition unapologetically.
Absolutely. And we suffer from it. To quote Dr. Ewart Brown earlier this year on this show in the summer, the question is, why are we so dysfunctional?
It's by design. They did a good job.
And we're comfortable with it. Raj, you got some daily inspiration for us?
I do, from Langston Hughes.
Great poet.
Perhaps the mission of an artist is to interpret beauty to people, the beauty within themselves.
I like that, Raj. You always got them. All right, folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Again, only fill out the survey once. If you haven't already, please do it. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Roger Denbrook. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.